Greetings everyone, Slizzer466 here, and in today's video we're looking at some of the best wild decks for laddering January 2023. These are listed in order of power, and if you want to see the tiers where I place them, you'll see them all in the description below. So the number one deck in the meta right now is, in my opinion, Even Shaman. It has an incredible high roll. When you have the anchored totems and the carving chisels going, you can just make these very difficult boards to deal with and then very quickly kill your opponent. Another very strong deck is Secret Mage, simply because it has 0 mana 5/5s and 0 mana 6/6s, which are easy to get out. So you've got a big board, the secrets are annoying to play around, objections pretty annoying as a newish one. So Secret Mage, very good. Makes Sluzzle very happy. He says hi, by the way. Next we have Pirate Rogue. Pirate Rogue is also really strong. I'm a big fan of the lists that don't run Mr. Smite, so I like the inclusion of the Loetheb at the top end here. But this is a very, the games are very quick, not particularly exciting, but it gets the job done. So I consider these first three decks to be in tier 3. For the tier 2 decks, I've got Shudderwock Shaman as the top tier 2 deck. And I do prefer the 30 card builds because it's just easier to get to your powerhouse cards like the Shudderwock, the Grumble, things like that. I also like these lists that run a lot of Murlocs. I don't think this one particularly does though. This one's a little lighter on the Murlocs. It looks like we're only running the Flurgle combo here. But still very, very powerful deck. And next we've got Pillager Rogue. So Pillager Rogue is a deck that just kills your opponent out of nowhere. You play combos of, in this specific build, you've got Mailbox Dancer to get lots of coins out, and then you bounce everything back, make it cheap with scabs, and then kill them with massive pillages. You can usually easily do over 30 damage. Then we have Beast Hunter. Which I've been picking up lately, and have been pleasantly surprised how it's going. This list is a little bit on the heavier end, so you see things like Bone Lord, Frost Whisperer, Cornelius Rome. The Shock Spitter, even though it got nerfed, it's still pretty good. So this is a very powerful aggro list to play. Then moving into tier 3 territory, I believe. Is Reno Lock. So with Reno Lock, this is a 30 card build, which again, I'm a fan of the 30 card Reno builds because I usually want to get to specific cards that help me win. This list doesn't go for the demons that you typically see, but instead goes in for finishing off by removing your opponent's board with Gigafin, throwing down Gnolls, 1 mana 8/6s, and blocking things out with Loetheb. Now I've got two Reno Priest lists. The first is a 40 card build. So this is by Memnarch, who's one of the top legend players. So even though I don't like 40 card builds, I would take his word for it that this is a very strong list. But if you want to be going for the 30 card path, and maybe you've got less cards in your collection, this is a good way to go as well. This list is a little bit quirkier with the card choices, but it's still very good. Then we've got Even Lock, which is really solid. Even Lock, it's just been good for a while. It does struggle a bit against Secret Mage, just because you're killing yourself so fast and the Secret Mage kills you. But otherwise, it's pretty solid, and the inclusion of Astalor Bloodsworn is pretty fun. To round out the bottom of tier 3, we've got Mecha'thun Druid, which is coming back in the meta. Because of Wild Heart Guff, you can play Mecha'thun and then do a whole bunch of stuff to draw over the rest of your deck, destroy the Mecha'thun, and win. The main combo is playing Mecha'thun with Poison Seeds. Though some players like to use Naturalize as well. It's up to you. Then we've got Cthulhu Druid. I haven't seen Cthulhu Druid for a while, so I want to include it. But what really helps is, again, Guff's a good card. You can gain a lot of mana very quickly with Twig and Sphere of Sapience. Floop's Glorious Gloop is a pretty fun one to just do a lot of crazy stuff in one turn. Some players say it's a bit of a win more card, so if you don't own it, you can get away without it. But otherwise, Cthulhu Druid, if you missed playing that. Now the rest of these decks I'm placing in tier 4, and they're not in any particular order of power. So we start with Blood Death Knight. This is a 40 card build. It is running duplicates. It just does a lot of good stuff out of nowhere, which is good. We then have a Reno 40 card build. This is a Luna's Pocket Galaxy minion heavy build, which is why you see the inclusion of Book of Spectres. So it's just a really fun, if you like combating with minions and having long drawn out games, this is a fun list to play. I've also got a 30 card Reno list, and this is a more traditional control list, so it's running a lot of tech cards like weapon removal, things like that. I haven't tried this list myself, but it's definitely, if you're into Reno lists, this one's a little cheaper than you normally see to build, so you could give this one a spin. Mage. There was a comment in a previous video about why Mage wasn't in here, and the reason was at the time not many people were playing it, and not that many people still are, but it's still pretty strong. The only thing that really makes the deck struggle is it is a very minion, it's a cheap minion list, and once you run out of steam, it's often hard to get back again. So that's why you've got the guy, the Tectonic at the top end, just to give it that extra oomph if you've been struggling to get a board to stick. Then we have Holy Wrath Paladin. I haven't seen this for a while. Holy Wrath Paladin, basically you reorder your deck with Lawkeeper Purkelt so that you can play the Holy Wrath and pull one of the big minions, the 25s or the 20s, to OTK your opponent. If that doesn't work, you can just do control Paladin things and maybe draw out the game so that you still win. 40 card Reno Paladin. Haven't tried this build myself, but looks very quirky. A lot of stuff in there. And it, again, these always seem to run Nosnomi the Timeless, which is great because you want to get those big top ends out. And as you can see here, this list has quite the big top end. It's a pricey one to play. Pure Paladin is something you don't often see in Wild, sometimes in Standard. As you can see, I'm kind of missing the most fun card in the list, so I'll probably craft this because I do like random legendaries. But yeah, if you want to play some Pure Paladin in Wild, give this one a go. Looking at Rogue, there's Kingsbane Rogue. Some might argue it's better than tier 4, maybe tier 3. But you don't see it pop around too much. This is a 40 card build. This player, Ido, switches between 30 and 40 card builds. So at the time, they're running a 40 card one. And I like how it's also running like the Astala Bloodsworn and just some other fun cards. So this is a fun list to play around with. Edwin Rogue. So even though the Sinstone Graveyard got nerfed, this is still pretty good. We're only running the one Edwin here, not both. But overall, you can get a lot of stuff out for cheap because you play so many cards in a turn. And we're seeing again the Astala Bloodsworn. It's in a lot of decks these days. Moving over to Shaman, Overload Shaman, something you may have forgotten about, mainly because the nerf to Lightning Bloom is pretty hurtful. but it's still usable. And so basically you get your Spirit of the Frog out and you just go ahead and try and OTK your opponent by overloading yourself by a bunch and using Overdraft. Looking at Warlock, Curse Warlock is a 40 card build. It just does lots of fun things. Its big problem is it can be a little slow sometimes, and it is kind of troublesome trying to survive some of the OTK decks out there. But otherwise, if you're in the mood for some Curse Lock, this is another great list to give a go. And last but not least, we have Enraged Warrior. This specific list just tries to OTK. You got the Decimator Olgra, which is pretty fun. Light of the Phoenix, which is also one I haven't played around with myself, but Enraged Warrior is probably your best bet to get a win with Warrior in this meta. If you want to try any of these decks for yourself, you'll find the deck codes all in the description below. If you're a mobile user and it's difficult for you to copy those deck codes, you can visit my Discord. There is a deck list only channel. There's an easy to enter link to it in the description below. And if you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.